I too am going to go and do this genre. Hey, I'm actually a country singer, but it seems like everyone is moving direction of pop. So I'm going to ditch country and I'm going to be a pop singer. Again, I think that's a bad move because you're going to wind up doing something that you may not be really good at. You may be more adept at a different style. You may be more adept at a different genre. So try to stick with the thing that is really uniquely you instead of trying to follow trends. And the problem is, when you hear these trends on radio or you hear the trends online or you see them in various places where, you hear music, the problem is when you finally hear that track in a movie or whatever else it may be, that song was probably developed a year before. Or in some instance, years before. You think it's new. So when you, for the first time, hear the new album that X, Y, and Z artist dropped, that artist at that very moment while you're listening to this person's, I'm using my air quotes here, new song, that artist or that producer, the songwriter behind that artist, they're already working on the next thing. So today you're emulating that artist song that you're hearing for the first time. Well, in reality, that style may be like a year old. That artist, the people backing that artist, they're on to next year's project. So my point being is that you're forever going to be behind if you keep emulating things you're just hearing out there. Sometimes I think isolation as a musician is a good thing. Just pulling yourself away from genres and what's on in media. It's a good thing. So you can just create something that's uniquely you versus trying to, again, model yourself after what's happening. That product has already been out there for a year. You just didn't know it. All right. And the last thing, if you feel that your music sucks and you're just not enthused about your musical ability, I'm going to ask you this next question to see if you're suffering from this issue. Are you trying to please other musicians? Let me say that again. Are you trying to please other musicians or live up to the expectations of other musicians? I really want you to listen carefully to this point I'm going to make. I have found myself looking to get the approval of other musicians. And I feel like that is a very dangerous area for you to be as a musician. Sure, I want to be regarded by my peers, but here's the thing. A lot of times musicians are critical of themselves, as I said at the beginning, and they're also critical of other people. Oh, you're flat. Oh, that was sloppy. Oh, that was this. Oh, well, you don't even use, good strings, or your pickups suck, or whatever it may be. And a lot of times you'll find yourself really never pleasing these people because they are very, very technical in some instances. Again, that's not a bad thing if you're being challenged. But if you live your life to please other musicians and to get their accolades or what have you, you may wind up finding that that's a bar that you can never live up to, essentially. There's a guy that I know that is an incredibly accomplished musician, but every time he talks about other musicians, there's always something negative or backhanded he has to say. Well, yeah, this guy is all right, but, this person, they use auto-tune, right? There's always some type of criticism. And if you're around someone like that, again, you just start to feel that you can never measure up. Here's the thought I want to leave with you here. The vast majority of people who listen to your music or will listen to your performances or your songs or whatever, think about what I'm saying. The vast majority of them are not musicians. They're not people like you and I. So in other words, if you are trying to please other musicians, your audience will be quite small. But if you're trying to just provide music that simply the masses like, it's actually pretty simple and very easy. I've heard some pretty simple and sometimes kind of cheesy songs do quite well in the charts and out there in the media. It's because people simply like the song. It's not about the complex musicality and it's none of that. It's just, hey, this is my jam. I like it. And if that is your bar, your job as a musician becomes a lot easier. Here's the point. An accomplished musician may not give you any props and they may give you a pretty hard time, but the average guy or gal or whomever out there, they probably would appreciate your music a lot more, and you get a lot of love from that person. So you need to figure out who you want to please. Sure, again, it may feel good to get the blessing of a virtuoso out there. And I think we all want to know that we're doing well from a musical standpoint. But again, music is simply meant to make you feel good. It's meant to set a tone. It's meant to be enjoyed. And yeah, it can be ultra technical, but to me, that becomes more of a science type of thing versus more of an enjoyment thing. So I don't know. I personally feel that this particular line of thought has helped me quite a bit. It takes the pressure off on trying to create and to become something ultra complicated. It's simple. Just make something that people can enjoy. It's just that simple. And with that, let's go ahead and move into our tip of the day. Today's tip is brought to you by the book JingleMoney. JingleMoney is a book for musicians. This book will show you how to generate income. I mean, like real income by writing music for commercials. Recently, let me see here, in the last couple of days, I got a brand new client that found me and would like to have me put together some music for a commercial that he is going to be running in Chicago. I'm getting thousands of dollars for seconds of music, and I can show you how to do that in the book JingleMoney. It's all there. It's super simple. You can do it from your home. You can do it with a very small setup. You don't need to be in some multi-million-dollar studio or have all kinds of connections out in LA and New York. It's very simple to accomplish. Check out the book, JingleMoney. If you go to Amazon and look it up, it's all one word, JingleMoney. You'll see it there. It's simple. There's some reviews out there. So yeah, check it out. I'm telling you, it's well worth the read. All right. So today's tip. So I mentioned earlier in the podcast that I went to South Africa, among some other places, and I heard phenomenal music. And as we got into our show today, I talked about what happens when you don't like your own music or you have doubts about your own musical abilities. I want to tie these things together to say this: embrace what you have. And that was really the point of me bringing up the story about the music in South Africa and some other places, is that they placed value on the music that they create. No one else in the world can do music like they do in those particular areas, and they're not necessarily trying to be like everyone else. They have their styles, and they embrace their own styles. And because they do that, they work the sound, they work the instrumentation, they work the melodies, and they're absolutely dominant in these particular genres. For you, I want you to work your abilities. I want you to work your giftings, and you own those things. So if you are someone who has a certain vocal range, work that vocal range. If you know a certain style, work that style. If you're able to play a specific instrument, but maybe you're not that sweet on another instrument, whatever, you can learn the other stuff, but try to really, really own that one instrument you do know how to play. Again, try to embrace the thing that is you. If you can do that, you will become an amazing original. Be the best original that you can be. Being the best copy will always wind up putting you outside of first place. I'm hoping that makes sense, man. All right, so let's do it next time. Hey, and make sure that you subscribe to the podcast now that we're back in this new year and we're going to start rolling out some episodes, man. I want to make sure that you are hearing the content, and make sure that you take a trip to our main website. That is successwithmusic.com. successwithmusic.com. You can check out other episodes there. Successwithmusic.com. And make sure you share the podcast with your fellow music people.